Couchman Entertainment. Kick back and enjoy. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Couchman Entertainment. I'm your host, the Couchman, and today we're going to do my first ever top list maybe would be the wording I would use for this. We're going into some ideas I would like to see implemented for the Wastelanders DLC for Fallout 76. And I guess without further ado, we'll jump right into it, shall we? So, for the first batch of ideas, I was thinking, with the introduction of Settlers and Raiders being the two primary factions for the Wastelanders DLC, I would like to see new events centered around that idea. Some stuff just I thought of off the top of my head was like maybe a bounty hunting mission that doesn't just take place in an event area, but is map wide. I think something like that would be really cool, where there's this high level NPC, whether it be the Settlers if you're, factioned with the Raiders, or a Raider if you're aligned with the Settlers, things like that. Another idea I had that I thought might be really interesting would be maybe defensive missions. Say, or the Raiders' main base or the Settlers' main base, if there's something like that suddenly there'll be an event that pops up and say, hey, defend this base against, attacking Raiders, or, hey, these Settlers are fighting back, we need to defend our main base, kind of thing for the Raiders. So I thought those would be some simple ideas that would, kind of spice things up a little bit, give the open world a little bit different feel to it. And so the next thing I thought of was centered around the camp idea. So with the introduction of actual NPCs into the game's going to fundamentally change drastically. Now there's going to be dialogue options, and there's going to be different things associated with those NPCs. So I was thinking something like, hey, you can recruit these NPCs like you do in Fallout 4 and set them to defend your base. Just, very basic idea that could be easily used. And more than likely, I think they're probably going to do something like that. But the other thing I was thinking is you could have a new station that you can craft at your base, and it would be something along the lines of, hey, I can send these Settlers out on just random generated missions that don't mean anything to the player, but to the NPCs could be of value to the player. Like, hey, just like in Fallout Shelter, right? There's random missions that pop up that are generated that give rewards if you send these Settlers out from your vault into the wasteland, and then they arrive at their mission destination. Then they have a percentage of completing this mission. Say like, oh, hey, this level 15 Settler or 15 Raider that you've recruited will go on this mission that's ranked for level 15, and say, oh, they have a 75% chance of completing this mission, and if they complete this mission, they'll bring back loot, stim packs, any sort of medications, things like that, food, weapons, ammo, all sorts of things that you could have them bring back. I think that would be a really cool mechanic that you could implement into into the camp system. So now you have a reason to go back to your camp. I can go back and I can farm this material. I have a bunch of Settlers in my camp, or a bunch of Raiders in my camp. I can send these guys out on missions. And of course you could take, you can even take the Fallout Shelter style. You can have up to 3 people going on the mission, which increases the chance of the success on the mission, thus increasing the amount of reward you can get. So another thing I thought of is you can have events spawn around those as well. I know this kind of ties into the first bullet point I was talking about, but this just kind of builds upon that even further. Is I sent out 3 Settlers on this mission. Halfway to their destination, an event spawns up, and it pops up in my quest queue and says, hey, your Settlers that you sent on a mission are under attack by Raiders. You need to go defend them, otherwise they'll instantly fail the mission. If you choose to ignore this timed event for too long, the mission will fail and they will die and you will lose them. Now, I don't know if they're going to implement some sort of way to revive them. I think they shouldn't. I think it should be a one-time deal. This Settler dies, boo-hoo. There's new ones coming into the wasteland. That's the whole premise, is that people are coming back to Appalachia. So it only makes sense that he died. Oh well, there's a new guy coming in to take his place. And another twist that I thought would be kind of a cool thing for the survival mode would be that these people on the missions, instead of like the raiders or settlers attacking them, that the players could actually attack these characters, that they're actually visible out in the world. Now I know there's hardware limitations, Bethesda's talked about it before, but I think it would be a really cool idea if maybe down the line they could add something like this in, where they're actually visible in the world and you can actually interact with them, and if you kill them you can take the loot, so whoever sent them out doesn't get the loot. Simple change like that, but I think it would be really cool to see, especially in survival mode, and considering you need all the supplies you can just start raiding caravans, you know what I mean? Like something like that would be really cool. And the last bullet point that I thought of would be, again, for survival mode, just kind of continuing off the other one, but change how the PvP is done with the Wastelanders and create a faction worldwide PvP kind of battleground. I'm not talking like battle royale, battleground kind of stuff. No. What I'm talking about is Alliance versus Horde style, World of Warcraft style, where you have the raiders on one side and the settlers on the other, and as you're doing the main quest you have to pick a side. Whatever side you pick with, you go down their path, and guess what? Anyone who's allied with the settlers is now an ally in survival mode. You don't fight each other. Granted, I think you should still be able to engage in PvP if you so choose to. That way you're not kind of restricting or limiting that mode, because that's the whole premise of the survival mode. But this kind of adds a new twist to it, because now anyone who's on the raider faction is instantly hostile no matter what, or if they're on the settlers, they're instantly hostile no matter what. And it would kind of create this cool realistic tension, because you're not going to be going along, it's like, hey, this guy's been fighting with the raiders and I've been going with the settlers, we're just going to pass each other by and call it a day. No, in real life that guy would try to kill you because you are against him, you are on the opposite faction. So I think that would be really cool to implement that into the survival mode. But again, it's going to be one of those things where I know you can pick a side. I can go to, I can side with the raiders and then halfway through decide to go with the settlers and betray the raiders, and they'll implement dialogue options for that. And you could still do the PvP around that. You could be going down, I've done 2 raider quests in a row, I'm temporarily aligned with the raiders. I switched over to the other side, I did 2 settler quests, now I've moved over, now I'm on the settler side. So it's not, you don't have to be limited to it. There has to be some sort of mechanic that keeps track of how you are doing stuff in the world, but it can still affect your allegiance or your alliance. And of course you can hop on the settlers and just plow all the way down through and be a full-blown settler side and never touch the raider stuff. But where's the fun in that? That's not Fallout. You know what I mean? Especially not in a open world style game where your changes are supposed to affect everything that goes on in the world. So I thought that would be kind of some cool ideas to throw around. But, let me know what you guys think in the comments and stuff. Just kind of, I'm looking for feedback. I want to see what other people think the Wastelanders DLC is going to bring. I'm personally excited for it. I really want to see an actual story in Appalachia. I don't know about you guys, but I've never been a big fan of how they did the story mode in Fallout 76. The passive storytelling just didn't work well to the point where I was happy with it. I've been playing the game for quite a few hours, and I don't know virtually anything about the story. I skipped through terminal entries and stuff like that. I don't want to read everything. I prefer the more realistic feel where you're actually talking to a live person, not listening to a holotape passively while I'm trying to get, stay alive by getting attacked by a radioactive Wendigo. It just doesn't happen. So, but yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments below. We can start some dialogue there. And if you like what you heard today, definitely like and subscribe to the channel. It would definitely help me out. Like I said, I'm trying to actively get more into this and make more content. So, yeah, I will catch you all next time. Couchman out.